Hey everybody, welcome to the Podomatic show today. The micro effect had I don't know, we had some issues there with the station network, so I'm not sure what was going on. So I'm going to give you an introduction, letting you know that it's me broadcasting the remedy. I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you can locate us at the micro effect when it's working. And you can find us also at Bye Bye Blue Sky, or find me also at Bye Bye Blue Sky. As well as throughout the internet. We've got Canada and other places as well. Before I start, I'm going to remind everybody that this is the weekend. This is the weekend. We are here. We are just about there. Now we just got to set things up come the weekend. Hopefully we'll see you guys there at the Green Show at the Toronto Convention Center. It'll be April 6th through 8th. Come on in, say hi, and we'll be bringing a bunch of triangles. We're going to be bringing a bunch of different things for you guys to see. Hopefully we can build some stuff while we are there. Hopefully I don't forget anything. And hopefully we can be informative and give you what we can to keep you on top of things so that you can defend. We have so much going on today. We have never been exposed to the likes of the things going on. So hopefully Bye Bye Blue Sky will be there. Other activists will be there as well, myself. And hopefully we can give you different methods and approaches to, taking care of yourself and then helping each other. Look, the key here, and I'm going to point this out, and this is going to go especially to those who are the targeted individuals. I've been getting calls all week. Well, actually, for the last 3 weeks. From targeted individuals from all over the planet. Australia, New Zealand, India, Africa, the Middle East of all places, across Europe, different parts of Europe, England, France, or the United Kingdom, I should say, France, Germany. I'm sure they're going on in Italy and Spain as well, and Spain, Portugal, whatever. Across Canada, South America, Central America, U.S., everywhere I've been getting calls. If they've heard about me online or through the internet, I have been getting some kind of call, email, or some kind of contact through Skype where, people have been letting me know that they've been hit with frequencies, they've been hit with different things. And the biggest thoughts is suicide. Now, for those of you who don't know what a target individual is, a target individual has been selected by a institution, by a military operation, by a government agency or government agencies, by corporations, by the pharmaceutical industries, by the medical industries, corporations, industrial companies, you name it, to try their new wave of technology or technological advances on an unsuspecting public. And a lot of times they're using what's called voice-to-head technology. Now, in this voice-to-head technology, people are being afflicted morning, noon, and night. Some are being activated with frequencies. Some are being hit with frequencies, since we are all being hit with some kind of frequency throughout the day, every so many hours in the day, midnight till between midnight to 2 to 4 a.m., 5 to 8 a.m., 11 to 12 in the afternoon, 3 in the afternoon, 5 to 8 at night, and repeat 11 to midnight. Everybody's being hit. Everybody is an actual target. You are nothing special. If you think you are not having anything happening to you, it's because you're still in La La Land. And you are still in that dream state and you don't have a clue. Till the bottom falls out. Everybody is going to get their ass handed to them sooner or later. And my suggestion to you would be to pay attention to what's being said now, so that when it comes down your way, okay, then you'll say, that crazy Cadet didn't have, so he was pretty right. He said, boy, he told us the way it is, blah, blah, blah. That guy, because now you're calling me crazy, and that's okay. I can handle being called crazy. You can call me whatever you want. I really don't care. But when it falls to you, when it falls to you, there ain't going to be no running. There ain't going to be no hiding. I get calls from me all the time. Is it safe in Canada? Is it safer in Canada? No. Is it safer in France and Europe? No. The same shit that's going on in the United States and Canada and throughout North America is going on across Europe, across the Middle East, down to Australia and New Zealand, across to Asia. Don't think for one minute that the Chinese are not having the same kind of crap going on to them. Okay, in Russia, doesn't matter where you are on this planet. This technology, the blockchain that the artificial intelligence is inserting on this planet, is far-reaching, ever-reaching, and reaching everywhere. And there is no safe place. So you have to make your place the safe place. Now, my suggestion to all you TIs that have contacted me, get together. Form a more perfect union. Form a community. Start investigating these damn frequencies. I'm going to give you a link. I'm going to talk about this link in the show. And start coming up with solutions. Don't expect an effing guru, and I'm going to tell you that way, an effing guru, to come out here and save your ass. It's not going to happen. The only thing these bloody gurus are going to do is sell you bullshit just so they can line their pockets. A lot of these gurus are in the pockets of the corporations and the pharmaceutical industry, and they've been painted to be the hero or the go-to guy to hear whatever bullshit of the day is, and so that you buy into whatever product. The latest one is the C60, which is a lot of horseshit. All the way around, pure horseshit. And it's a sabotage. And my knowledge of the C60 Bali fullerene, what you all need to do who have gotten sucked into that stupid bullshit is start looking up Bali fullerene C60 toxicology. That's what you should be looking up. These guys selling this shit is just basically hucksters. What's happening is this stuff is carrying programming, and it's in the liposome, and it will carry into the brain, dump its programming, attach itself to the brain, and then do its thing. They want to tether everybody in the head. This is what they want. They want a construct of a tether to be put into the head so you can be linked to the artificial intelligence. That's Elon Musk's insanity. That's his solution for us to be more equated or up-to-dated with the technology, if you will. Yeah, you know, he's saying that we'll be like, if we're not like that, we'll be like a cat and a dog that we have today, pets. Well, it doesn't tell you, he's not telling you that once that interface occurs and you're integrated with the artificial intelligence, you are no longer a free will person. You are now an automaton or extension of a programming that can now be connected to. And the carbon C60 is a high concentration of graphene, a highly conductive material that can have programming inserted to it. 1 nano carbon fullerene can carry a terabyte of data. Imagine that downloading into your brain. Imagine that downloading, period, or attaching itself to your brain. That's what this is going to be doing. This is going to be delivering this crap into your brain because it's wrapped in a fat. And this is the and then what happens is then they fire their frequencies at you, and you think you're hearing the voice of God. Oh, I heard God talking to me. God wants me to take all my shit and sell it and go in the middle of nowhere so I can find spiritual attainment, higher levels of spirituality. And then you go to those places, you're now left all by yourself. You have you know, forgone anything that you knew, and now you are being attacked, exploited, targeted, frequencied, you know, having your DNA rearranged, and you're just the experiment they're looking for, and they sent you into the spot where they want to exploit and experiment on you. If the voice of God does talk to you, there better be something substantial, like a burning bush, like Moses had. There better be something substantial to validate that it is the Almighty giving you the word, and not some voice to head technology. Let me get back to the TIs, because I just sort of jumped over that. You guys with the TI, you're hearing all this bullshit. You're hearing the voices. You're hearing, oh, you can't win. You just give it up. Surrender. What's the point? You can't win. What are we going to do about it? We can't do nothing. We'll just go along to get along. Or whatever bullshit is being put into your head. Okay, you need to stop that right in its track. You need to stand your ground. Stand your ground. And the way you stand your ground is you say, these are not my thoughts. I've been dealing with shit all for the last 3 days since I've been helping TIs. Couldn't believe what's coming across my head. But I know where it's coming from. So it's not driving me mental. It's just frustrating me that it's got that kind of a hold, that it got a hold of me. You need to stand your ground and state emphatically, these are not my thoughts. Where is this coming from? And start pursuing that. You need to start looking at ways and means to blocking frequencies and to defend yourself against frequencies. You need to stop listening to gurus who are selling you bullshit by the pound. Anything that has to do with nanobiology, nanobiotechnology, synthetic biology is to be avoided at all costs. Any integration of this bio-nanotechnology or synthetic biology will begin to alter your very core of your DNA and your genetic code. The epigenetic and transgenic materials that they will be putting into these products will further cause mutations and breakdown. As we get older, our DNA becomes subjected to, again, breaking down, and we start to change. And I have noticed that with people in their 30s, because they're consuming genetic and epigenetic and transgenic foods. Anything that can alter your DNA and your genetic code, this is the reason why you're aging, because your code is being complicated, confused, made to be dysfunctional, and being, redirected. As long as the DNA double helix can repair itself, you sustain your life. But if it doesn't sustain itself, you become broken down. You begin to age exponentially. And this is why you have to, like I said, use your brain. This is why I tell you to read the labels on the supplements. Any silica material that they tell you is good for you, they are FOS. They have known that silica is a carcinogen from way, way, way back. Whether it's in a natural source or not, it is carcinogenic. This is the insanity that I can't get over with a lot of these medical whack jobs and quackos out there propagating these products. They have, or if they've not seen this, or if they're looking at this aspect of 1 or 2 studies which shows it has some kind of positive effect, and they're not looking at the other 99 studies as saying that it is no bloody good, they're selling. That's it. They're just selling. Anytime you're looking at the term fullerene or C60, C60 means carbon 60. It's a graphene-like material. It is harder than diamond by a factor of 3. It is harder than steel by a factor of 100. There is no way you can break this down. A high-powered laser beam can only crack this. That's it. A high, powerful multi-hit with a powerful electromagnetic field pulse or pulse electromagnetic field is the only thing that disengages it. It doesn't break it down. It disengages the program, whereby then it lets go and is released. And they want to sell you this as a product. This is why I'm telling you, start looking this up. Okay? Don't just look at the so-called studies on the antioxidant properties about blah, blah, blah. You better look at both sides of this picture and don't get stuck on that one thing. The internet will propagate something. Anything that they propagate in high volume usually is to sabotage you up the way. And we've had many examples of this in the past. Soy, right now, is the top of the line. Anything that has to do with soy products, isoflavones, adenosine, dazodin has all been proven to be nothing but bullshit. And they have propagated this in the industry. To this very day, people are still stupid enough to go into a health food store and buy soy. This is mind-staggering to me. But that just goes to show you how a program has been in place, put into place, and what winds up happening is stays there, and people just follow the program with no longer looking at the complete facts of what's going on today. And anybody's going to tell you that some of these things are great and wonderful and blah, 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 and all this stuff hasn't done the research at all. Anybody that's going to propagate anything like this hasn't done the research. They're just looking at the current status. They're looking at, you're stupid, I'm going to make money. That's what they're looking at. They are looking at that. Okay, they are looking at the fact, and what they're looking at is you don't have a clue. You're stupid, you're ignorant, we can tell you whatever we want to tell you, we can sell you whatever bullshit, and you are going to buy it. We have established a trust factor with these people, we can lie to them all we want to. Why are the vitamin companies putting in these materials that they know damn well is carcinogenic? Why? That's because they're following the so-called GMP, or Good Manufacturing Practice, which was instituted by the FDA, which then made the vitamin companies that were not putting in these products before having to be put into them now, because now they have to do it the same way that the drug companies are doing it. Buy your stuff in bulk. Let me read this to you about the so-called C60. That they're telling you the radioprotective effects of nanoparticle GF-1 of fullerene with antioxidant properties was evaluated in zebrafish embryos. Hold on a second. Read this. Let me see this. Maybe look at the wrong one here. Let's see. Okay, basically. Was this ionizing radiation? I'm reading the wrong thing here. Okay, this is about radiation. Sorry, I got the wrong one. Look at this one. Human exposure. Okay, I got the wrong thing here. All right, well, let me read what I have written down here so that I can go by this. There he is. Okay, C60 fullerene toxicity and electronic properties. Okay, they were looking at the fullerene buckyball. Okay, the thing you want to look at is the term fullerene buckyball C60. Constitutes a particular group within the field of nanotechnology. Fullerenes find applications in medicine, industry, chemistry, blah, blah, blah. The in vitro and in vivo aspects of pristine C60, along with chemical modified C60 molecules, they were evaluated. Quantum properties in C60 molecules in context with the implications on cellular factors and metabolites. The evaluation shows that the reactivity and quantum chemical properties of C60 can have unexpected effects in the cell by principally absorbing metabolites such as oxygen and hydrogen ions and alter its reactivity. C60 is solely based on empirical studies. Okay, the C60 studies right now that they're talking about as far as some of the benefits is all based on empirical evidence. The absorption of divalent zinc ions, which shows an increase in the reactivity of the C60, that presents an important pattern of chemical state, reactivity, and toxicology potential. So basically, the zinc in your system can cause a reaction with this. Results evaluate the toxicology potential of C60 from a different angle than conventional by applying a blend of critical review and findings on C60 toxicity, their chemical and electronic properties. When we're looking at this stuff, start looking at when you hear something online, anything online, the first thing you do is start looking at the research on the toxic factors of whatever they're trying to sell you. You're going to find time and time again a lot of these things are going to be a surprise to you in regard to what they are selling you, what the reality is and what is really going on. Because like I said, when we're looking at some of the wonderful things they got here, okay, all silica products, doesn't matter which one they are all on a nano scale. Because again, I'm jumping into this too, because this is all part one. C60 is a carbon 60. So you got that going on, you got silica going on, you got titanium going on, and nano biotechnology, synthetic biology, nano biology, all loves carbon. That's how it assembles and replicates. When you're looking up in the sky and you're seeing the expansion of those chemtrails, the reason that can happen is because the amount of methane in which is a form of carbon, is up in the atmosphere, and the stuff is just using it to assemble. Continuous, here we go. How dangerous this compound is, and that the FDA allows it sprayed on unfinished foods not labeled. And most people, it doesn't cause an acute reaction. It does cause a reaction. After the body gets rid of the silicon dioxide, it's introduced into a continuous crystallization inside the body. Continuous crystallization inside the body. Liquid crystalline matrix inside the body. It starts crystallizing to itself. I've been telling this for a long time, forming larger crystals. This thing will assemble itself without even a frequency, and then when you attach it to other technologies to it, it just goes haywire. You will see the crystals forming. Some are as small as a little dot that will reflect the light. Others are as big as a red blood cell and are obvious crystals. And anybody who's got nano poisoning, or nanobiological poisoning, or synthetic biological poisoning, who have pulled these crystals out, you're not the crazy one. The ones that are crazy are the ones who don't have a bloody clue, and they're ramping and raving about some sort of pathology or biology, and that's all they think. Oh, it's some fungus. It's a Morgellons. It's an alien from outer space. It's the black goo. The black goo, another theatrical pile of bullshit. Also know that he was seeing a lot more artifacts in people's blood. Don't really know what they were or where they were coming from. I had somebody call me as well a couple years back. They were using the same kind of a scope. What was it calling it? A dark field scope. And they were seeing all kinds of shit in people's blood, and they didn't know what it was. And then they contacted me because they saw my video on the nano. And so I explained to them, I says, okay, you probably saw in the blood, in the assembling process, materials that look like threads or wires that would seem to be attaching themselves into the blood and assembling some sort of circuitry. And they nodded yes. They agreed to what I was telling them. I said, you probably are also seeing in people on the skin certain geometrical patterns. And I said, you're also probably seeing as well different kind of chips, whether they be amber, crystalline type chip, silica, carbon. You're seeing dots that are glowing. These are your quantum dots, or acting like power cells, like all kinds of things. They concurred everything I said. They seen the same thing that I've been talking about. He also noted that there's been seeing a lot more artifacts in people's blood and don't really know what they were or where they were coming from. So when you're looking at the stuff that we've been telling you, okay, this is what you're up against. You're up against something so diabolical, it has to be completely demonic. You know, I don't care what your adjective is or your adverb is on this, whether you're calling them, fallen angels, or you're calling them aliens, or reptilians, or archons, or whatever the hell you want to call them. Okay, it's demonic to the core. Demonic to the core. Okay, when it's sprayed on food, it acts as a drug delivery system, just like it says above. Its properties allow it to coat proteins, gluten, amino acids, to artificially transport them into the body. Essentially, it acts to force injections into us. So when you said they expected there might be forced vaccinations, that already is happening through the food. There's already evidence that titanium dioxide nanoparticles cause iron uptake dysregulation in chicken intestinal cells. Anamorphous silicon dioxide acts the same way. And they knew this in 1960. And this is your diatomaceous earth. This is the silica gels they're selling. This is even the horsetail. When you're looking at some of these things that they're telling you is so great and wonderful for you, over a period of decades, these things have a tendency to accumulate. As they accumulate, they create mayhem in the programming. They cause severe challenges to your DNA. In fact, they can override your DNA. Start looking at research such as 1,600 consumable products, that have nano in them. Why do they have these products in your underwear? Why are they next to your genitals? Why are they next to your breast? Why are they next to your ass? Think about that. These are spots that can be very easily infected and create DNA and damage to a point where you can then start manifesting cancers as a result of an environmental exposure. Okay, this is important that you understand this, because like I said, you have no idea what they're doing, what they're going to be doing to you with all these things that is happening. When we're looking at some of the stuff that's going on, I've been warning you about toilet paper. Let me read this to you. I got to read this something. Again, I'm going to go off a little bit here. I have a tendency to, I want to change things up so you don't fall asleep on me, because sometimes you say, God, Tony, talk too much, whatever. Hey, Tony, I want to share this with you in hopes I can encourage someone else struggling with this. One of your podcasts, you briefly mentioned to use washcloths instead of toilet paper because of the nano, and it's been about 2 months now. I haven't used toilet paper or feminine products, and my bladder has stopped leaking from coughs, sneezes, jumping, puking, laughing super hard. It's about 90% back to normal. Also, my cervix is healthy, no bumps on my walls are well lubricated, and the wall lining is thick. All the health benefits just by not using toilet paper or feminine products. Thanks for the knowledge you've imparted with me. Now, you women, I'm talking to you now, so you get what I'm saying here. This is going to sound a little crude and a little bit salt to the earth, but it's something that's biological, and because it's biological, this will affect you. Whenever you use a tampon or a pad during the time of the month, using a tampon, you're just basically shoving this thing inside you. It expands. What happens when it expands? Then the blood gets in and soaks the blood like a sponge, which is the intent. But something else goes on. Your body produces a mucosal barrier to protect the lining of your cervix and your insides, but also you produce a biofilm because of the synthetic material and the sanitizing chemicals that they may have in there, which triggers an immune response. Then what winds up happening is you go to pull out the pad, leaving behind fibrous materials stuck inside the cervix, which are synthetic, which then can cause unwanted health issues. You're feeling sick all the time. You're feeling nauseous. You're having a hard time with your periods because you've got leftover chemistry from these hygiene products, which are designed to cause a toxic shock-like effect in your physiology. So this is, and when I talked about this, I even said when you're going to the washroom, and this is for both men and women, because the toilet paper is loaded with bisphenol A and all kinds of other crap. And so every time you wipe your arse with toilet paper, a lot of the nano compositions and the chemical compositions now get embedded in the anal cavity, which then can get absorbed through the intestinal tract, which then can get translocate through the system. It's all chemistry. Start using a washcloth. Take an old washcloth, soak it in water, wring it out, wipe yourself clean. It's a cleaner way of doing it anyway. And then wash the washcloth with some soap and water so you can reuse it again. And then eventually throw it in a bucket of bleach, let it soak, rinse it out, and then you have a sanitized washcloth. This is something everybody can do and use. Stop using some of the BS that they're selling you. It is a convenient factor. Oh, it's so convenient. Just pull it out, stick it in, done. In your old, that's how they sell you the product. Think about what is going on. Think about we are no longer living in the good old days. I have to say something. Those of us born in the 50s, we think about our childhood when we grew up, and we really never had good old days. We just had days of endurance. We had to go through stuff. We endured a lot of things. There was a transition going on during our time when we grew up. Our parents were the slaves, and then they took us and tried to program us. And as a result of the programming, we got afflicted with all kinds of chemistry and chemicals that we had to have, apparently, because it was good for us. Later on, 20, 30 years later, everyone's dying of cancer. Everyone's dying of some autoimmune disorder. Everyone's dying of diabetes. Everyone's dying of some thyroid issue. Everyone's dying because of some organ malfunction going on. And that's because for the last 50 years, we've accumulated all this material day in, day out, annually, biannually, quarterly, every decade. And then we had children. Our children has this stuff now embedded in their DNA. The new wave of kids being born today are going to have nanobiology, synthetic biology embedded in their DNA. One woman wrote to me today and said, "Oh, my daughter, 26 years old, never had a normal period. I don't think she can't get pregnant." I wrote her back, might not be a bad thing. Could be a blessing that she can't get pregnant. And that may sound kind of crude and heartless, but I'm looking at child comes into this planet, it has to face 45 vaccinations within the first 2 or 3 days of it just coming through the pipe, coming through the portal. And then it has to go through an educational system. And then it has to go through all the other rigmaroles in this life, which make absolutely no sense. And on top of that, the child's now been infected from day one with a technology or technobiology in its very cellular core and its matrix. So I think there's enough kids around on the planet right now. If you really want a child, maybe you might want to look at adopting some child, until this environmental nightmare with nanobiology or synthetic biology is removed from our environment, we are only bringing in this environment mutated life forms. It cannot be anything else. It can't be anything else. Like I said, I look at everything today in a whole different light. If I could have missed coming to this planet, I would have. I got drafted. Here I am. It's a standing joke between me and some of the other activists who have different belief systems, and I tell them all the time, I don't share your belief system in this regard. This is my belief system. It's a whole different one, and I tell them I was standing in line, and God said who would go, and I took one look, and I said, not happening. No way. You're not coming there. So when we stood in line, God asked the question, everybody took 3 steps back. Here I am. So anyway, some of you will get it, some of you won't. Anyway, and that's a bit of humor, so don't get all spiritual with me and all religious with me. It's just what it is, just some humor, just to lighten up the mode. We are in nano times. We are in synthetic biology times. We are in artificial intelligence times. They want to push artificial intelligence. It's already running the show. Some of the things you're reading where they're saying it's only going to be a couple years before something is happening, it's already here. If you're reading that, then that's 5 to 10 years outdated. A lot of the stuff that we're reading is that far outdated. That's why we're always playing catch up, because of the stuff that we've been told or hearing or whatever has come, and it's already, by the time we get to it, they've already been 5 to 10 years into it. So don't be disillusioned, don't be alarmed, don't be, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Okay, getting back to where we started in the beginning. those of you, even if you're not a targeted individual, form a perfect union. Start a blockchain. Be the blockchain. Have people connect with other people who are like-minded. Start sending emails. Hey, blah, blah, blah. We want to do this. Who do we talk to? You know, how about you being the go-to person? How about you being the part of that blockchain to get people together? You will find most people today who are targeted or awake are pretty much alone. And they're alone for a reason, because they don't trust the outside world. They don't care for it, number one. They don't trust it. They don't want to be a part of it. But a lot of them are suffering some things alone, and it can be difficult for anybody who's suffering to be alone. For a lot of people. Some people like myself can be alone, prefer being alone. It's easier. I can get more done. I can study more. I can do things. You know, it's just how, that's just how I'm wrapped. I can be with people. I don't need to be with people, or I can be alone, and I don't need to be alone either. I can go either way. But when I need to get stuff done, it seems that I work better and more effectively when I am alone. I do collaborate with other people all the time. You know, we get together through Skype or through some medium, and we talk, spend a little time together, exchange ideas, and then we go and start working on these ideas. You know, that's creating a network. Go through an email, you know, start a Skype connection with people. Talk about what. Don't just be a victim. What are we going to do? I'm a targeted individual. Oh, you're going to go through that initially. Don't stay there. Don't stay there. Pick up your socks, move forward, start doing your homework. How do I block an EMF? How do I block an ELF? How do I block a microwave? How do I block a scalar energy? How do I block an FM and AM signal? When they gave us FM was basically breaking down our DNA, and we didn't have a clue. Jeez. You know, I look back and I think how bloody stupid our generation was. And then I look at the millennials today and I think, oh my gosh, you know, if we were stunned and we were the intellectual ones, the millennials coming out today are beyond stunned, and they have no intellect. They just have programming. They know how to follow the program. This is a dangerous precedent for people to be only in that state. You know, only in that state. It's terrible. It's the way it is. It's just the way it is today, you know. And again, we need to understand we're living in those nano times. You know, we are living in nano times. You know, so start looking at frequencies, AI. You know, start looking at how do I block this, and then don't look up patents. Look up other research. Work on something. See if you can develop it. See if you can come up with something that actually can block a frequency. Something that might stop the DNA damage. You know, something that can help, you know, keep your mental faculties intact. It's important that we start to look and work together and exchange ideas. It's imperative that this goes on and happens. This is the only way any remnant will be left behind to be able to continue, period. There won't be anything left. If this goes unchecked, there will be nothing left. It will be completely integrated into a device. Okay, let me read this first. Silica radical induced DNA damage and lipid periodization. An effort was made to determine the generation of superoxide radicals by an aqueous silica. An aqueous silica. Where have you seen an aqueous silica? Particle suspension formation of singlet oxygen by freely fractured silica. The role of the free oxygen radicals in DNA and DNA damage and lipid periodization, and the possible dependence of silica-induced DNA damage on molecular oxygen. Electron spin resonance and spin trapping were used to detect oxygen radical generation from aqueous suspension of freshly fractured crystalline silica. DNA strand breakage assays were performed, measurements were taken in oxygen consumption and lipid periodization. SOD radicals in single oxygen were detected in aqueous suspensions of freely fractured silica. By the ESR, aqueous suspension of freshly fractured silica were observed to cause freshly aqueous suspension of freshly fractured silica were observed to cause DNA double strand breakage via oxygen dependent free radical mediated reactions. It caused double strand breakage. Do you know what that means? If one strand of your DNA breaks, it has another one there that it can actually replicate or duplicate in order to repair itself. Well, when you have both strands broken, it takes a long time for that part of the helix to recover. But what can happen is the nanoparticles can now insert themselves through XNA attachments and assemble in the places where the double strands are broken, and thereby causing great duress on your DNA, and your immune system can alter the way you think and can start mutating you. Okay, so when we're looking at how silica reacts with superoxide dismutase, it is basically a lethal combination. Hold on. The role of oxygen radicals in silica-induced lipid periodization was suggested by the 49, 52, and 75% inhibitions of lipid periodization by superoxide dismutase catalase and sodium benzate. See, now if you take sodium benzate and you combine that with DMSO, it actually pulls silica out. Like I said, so all you need to do is go get some lime juice at the grocery store. It's got sodium benzate to it. Add a cap to 2 caps of DMSO to it. Shake it up. Add a teaspoon of that to your drinking water and drink that several times in a day to pull out this crap. Okay, and let me get to the fun part today. This is called Lily Wave and Psychotronic Warfare. Now, this is going to be, again, directed primarily to targeted individuals and others. I had a husband and wife come see me the other day, and in their visit, they told me that the wife saying, my husband's driving me crazy. He can't remember nothing. He does stupid stuff, and I don't know what's going on with him. He's just, when I figured that's a typical marital thing, you know, it's a Canadian, European kind of, you know, foundation, the way things work. So, somebody had just sent me this article or this research a day before. It's called the Lily Wave. How many are you familiar with the Lily Wave? Let me read to you about the Lily Wave. So this is something else. For those of you with targeted individuals, go look up Lily Wave. So you haven't. So when you see this research, you begin to understand what is going on. Okay? So let me, it is described as a biphasic electric pulse which stimulates the neurons of the brain to resonate at a certain frequency. Thus, the Lily Wave has the ability to control the brainwave patterns of the brain. Those of you who are hearing the voice of God, pay attention. There is, however, a far more advanced form and largely unknown and suppressed purpose of use of the Lily Wave. The water molecule within the brain can be made to resonate at the desired frequency. This causes the electrons that comprise the brain's electrical voltages to also resonate at the same frequency. It is not, now the only way a lot of times this can happen, or happens more efficiently, is because there's something in the cell where it can grab onto, but here is something that can now cause the electrical conductivity of the cells to modulate at the same frequency that it's being targeted with. Now, it's not, hold on a second. It is not requirement, as is understood by the majority of science, to implant electrodes to cause brain's water molecules to be entrained to a certain frequency. It can also be accomplished by any waveform that can penetrate the skull and then cause the entrapment of the brain's water molecules. How many of you are using a cell phone? How many are using Wi-Fi? How am I using any kind of device like a remote control to stimulate a transmission? If the frequency is at a certain wave, it can then affect you as well. For example, radio waves emitted at frequency at 40 hertz target a person's brain will train the water molecules to a degree of 40 hertz, and thus the rest of the brain's electrons will also resonate at that frequency. In this manner, it is possible to stimulate and control the brainwave patterns remotely with electromagnetism and also acoustic waves. However, it's imperative to understand that if the wave is not biphasic, it will result in damage to the brain neurons and cause what is termed brain damage. It is not the case that only brain water molecules can be entrained. It is also true for the blood sugar ion within the cellular structure. Okay, what is sugar? It is a carbon. Carbon is what? A superconductor. What is iron? Iron is also a conductor. So you've got two conductors here, okay? So keep that in mind. Within the cell structure composing the neurons of the brain and various other elements can also be entrained to resonate at the desired frequency. Possibly the reason for the attack on tobacco and nicotine is a super blood sugar regulator. Okay, it also can help reboot the brain. That's what nicotine does. It's called the nicotine factor. When you light it up, creates cytokine, and cytokine. Cytokinine rather, again helps regenerate the brain. If a molecule targeted by a wave that resonates at the same frequency as the molecule will explode. Sugar is a crystal, and crystals, when stressed, broken or deformed, release an electric and electromagnetic charge that is also known as triboluminescence. The effect of the exploding sugar crystals is quite damaging to the mind and brain. It creates extreme confusion, dizziness, and also a state best described as lack of awareness or apathy. How many of you are with somebody involved in a relationship or married and are seeing these situations? How many of you are having these problems yourself? How many of you are targeted? How many of you have been driving down the road and you're driving for about 45 minutes to an hour, maybe 2 hours, and your mind is gone somewhere, and by the time you wake up, you're at your destination? Could be possibly that you were on autopilot, and that autopilot, while you were on autopilot, this was happening to you. Effectively, the Lee wave frequency is a secret military application. It's known as the madness frequency. The Los Angeles riots were said to have been the first open test of its capacity to mass control anger and violent responses from the mobs. Furthermore, there are other profound effects of entraining the brain cells, brain and blood iron molecules, one which cause the iron to condense together via resonate attraction and dump within the brain. This has the effect of causing the iron to be magnetized and rush to top of your head, resulting in a rush of blood to the head, extreme confusion, and dizziness. It can also be reversed, which can cause draining of blood from the head, leading to all-out unconsciousness. So in other words, we can bring it up, causing aneurysms and brain blood vessel damages and brain damage, or we can bring it down and drain the blood from your brain and cause you to be unconscious. Because again, through oxygen deprivation and other things. In short, the Lilly wave is best described as a targeted resonance on the brain molecules. So again, when we're looking at this information, okay, let me read this other part, okay, just before I go on. Artificial thought and communication. This is the best third step in the Blue Beam project, goes along with the telepathic and electronically augmented two-way communications where ELF, VLF, and LF waves will reach each person from within his own mind from the smart grid technology, convincing each of them that their own God is speaking to them from the very depths of their own soul. This has already happened with a lot of people, and they've contacted me. The HARP, Gwen, Wi-Fi, CD phone towers all can carry they all carry the little wave. And this wave will be amplified with 5G. They can take you out in your own bed while you're sleeping. You would never know what hit you. You'd be on the other side of the pearly gates wondering how you got there. Time to form a more perfect union. Time to form our own network and blockchain and start collaborating on each other's research, sharing the information that we have with each other, what we're seeing working, so forth and so on, and to keep people up. The C60, carbon C60 that they're talking about would be amplifying these frequencies in your brain. The whole bloody thing is a bloody hijack. Day one, they put this in there. They are preparing everybody for the new and improved targeting beams. If you're a targeted individual, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been targeted, you will be. Don't think of yourself as excluded from this club. If you live on this terra firma, if you live on the planet Earth, you will be subjected to some kind of targeting sooner or later. And it'll start beginning with the nano poisoning embedding itself in you, amplifying its replication and its network within you. And then when you get to a certain point, these transmissions will hit you, causing you to have all kinds of expenditures and network explosions. And you may have problems on the skin. You may hear high-pitched frequencies hitting you. You may even hear voices. You may see television shows pop in your head. You may hear musical songs pop in your head from the radio. And you will feel, again, a lot of times agitated, angered, or lethargic and apathetic, or you come to a point of surrender. Oh, what can I do? What am I going to do? Oh man, I can't do nothing. What am I going to do? Fight. Stand your ground. Use the gray matter between your ears. Start looking at ways to neutralize these things that we're getting hit with. Electromagnetic wavelengths transmit long, short, FM wavelength radios and TV, telephone, wireless signals or energies. They are also responsible for transmitting energy in the form of microwaves, infrared radiation, visible light, ultraviolet light, X-rays, and gamma rays. The Liddy wave can be neutralized by pink or white noise generators connecting to non-voltage AC, ground, and neutral to the home's power grid. In other words, you have to have it off of a power grid. Don't use it. Basically, hook up a car battery with an inverter. That's what you'd have to do. Again, work together. Again, hold your ground. Again, get pissed and good and pissed. And I don't mean going out and buying a bottle of alcohol and drinking that. You may do that too, but it's not what I'm referring to. I mean by getting pissed. Get pissed that you've been violated. Get pissed that you have had your rights and your choice of free will and free movement being taken from you. Get pissed that these things are targeting you to cause you to become compromised and damaged. Those of you who have issues going on in the face could be because you're being targeted in the brain to create the wave-like effect in your face that again would activate the nano in your face or the nano poison or synthetic biology, or to cause again mutations to occur. Don't give up. Stand your ground. Stand your ground. So I'm going to leave you with that message. Stand your ground. For those of you who want to, go to my website, augmentinforce.com. Take a look at the nano information there. I cannot emphasize that enough. Look at the nano synthetic biology. Look at the glyphosate. Check out everything, but for sure, look at this. Go look up Brian 396. I think Brian 396. Is it Brian 396 or Brian 369 or Brian 396? Now I've lost it. Crap. But anyway, Brian and I have collaborated on this for years. We've been working on different things. We've expanded our research. He is now putting up sites on YouTube and other places, DTube and other places, go check out his information as well. Don't hold back. Don't be afraid. Get informed. You cannot be able to do anything unless you are informed. You're not going to find anybody in regard to the level of information and the depth of the research that you're going to find other than myself, Brian. Brian is going to have a lot of stuff. He had a lot of stuff before him and I even got together. He's got a ton of stuff. He's doing his research and his due diligence. He's very advanced as well. So listen to him as well. Don't just, give up. Don't just, And I'm going to tell you something, Brian 396. I'm going to tell you something. Okay, we will both help you. And we may hold you by the hand for a short interim, but you are going to have to learn to stand. Learn to interact, learn to carry the load, learn to do the research, learn to do the development. Okay? It's imperative that you become autonomous, not tethered. That's been the problem. Too many tethers. You need to be free. Christ said, whom the Son of Man sets free is free indeed. So be free, by G's. Don't just be a tether. And don't allow yourself to be tethered. All right. Before I go on, let me remind you one more time. April 6th to 8th, this weekend, it's here. Bye-bye Blue Sky. Susan Marr and other activists are going to be up at the Green Show in Toronto at the Convention Center. I am also going to be there with them. Hopefully we can make some noise, get you awake, turn you on, get you excited. You can take over. I can take a nap. Hey, I'd like this. Come on down if you can. Feel free to, stop in if you're there, say hi, exchange some ideas, see what you can find, talk to us, see what, hopefully you've got better ideas than I do. I hope so. So check us out. Again, you can go also to my site, augmentedforce.com. Feel free to access the information on that website, all of it. There's a catalog link if you're interested in buying things. That's there too. The information is all there for free. You don't need your firstborn. I don't need your credit card. I don't even need anything from you. All you need to do is access, download. The information is yours. Don't hesitate. Don't fret. Just get it. And again, Brian396 also has a website up. Check it out. Bye Blue Sky also has a website out. She's got stuff on the nano. Look at the health link. Look at the nanomore gallons link. Check it out. So you got 3 different sources, advanced sources that can help you get to the bottom of things. So again, feel free to access. All right. We'll be on Thursday, and then after that, I am on my way to TO. So anyway, till then, to your health, stay healthy, stay network, interact, get that blockchain going. All right, take care.